¿Qué tal, amigos? You are watching LatiNation Football Club, and today we have a banger of a show. We're going to be covering Champions League, the final of Leagues Cup, El Berrinche de Miami. We also are going to be covering everything about the World Cup qualifiers that are happening all across the world, all over the weekend. We will be watching closely to see who are going to be those teams that make it to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. That's right. And also the women's game. We're going to have the National Women's Soccer League, the latest news about the transfers that are happening, and a preview of the Women's Champions League as well. And for that, I have my group of trusted collaborators and good friends, Julio Ramos, El Chiva Mayor, and Nik Z. I am your host, Marcelino Ortiz, and we have so much football to talk about.
¿Qué le pasa a Miami? What is going on with Miami? Eso es lo que yo quiero saber.
Miami had a very bad reaction to losing the Leagues Cup. Nik?
Hey, I'm just happy nobody got bit. So you know, moving on. I'm also happy as a Galaxy fan. We kind of did a little better than we're doing in the normal league in the MLS. Plus, on the other side of the pond, a lot of great football happening. UEFA is heating up, so a lot of people excited about that. So when you say there's a banger of the show, there's a banger of a show.
We will also be talking about the international window. World Cup qualifiers are happening all throughout the weekend. And later in the show, we're going to be talking about National Women's Soccer League with Camila Ortiz and everything that is happening on the women's game. But let's go back to the beginning. Leagues Cup. Yes, there's a new champion. Seattle was able to defeat Miami 3-0. And now we have such a story because they are such sore losers. Miami proving that they don't know how to lose. They are staining the game with these reactions. Chiva, talk to me. What is your reaction to this whole mess?
Luis Suarez, Luis Suarez, the one is always controversial, being dirty at times. He spit on one of the coach's faces from Seattle. That was nasty. I think MLS has to kick him out of the league. We don't need players like that. They are the kids look up to them. And I think Miami did really wrong in this final. Busquets punching a 20-year-old Vargas. I mean, ¿qué pasa, Miami? Why?
You have that caliber of talent, and then I guess a lot of pressure is on you, maybe a little bit of arrogance added into there, and then you're expecting that things are going to go your way, and they don't. And a team like Seattle comes through and don't let the drama overshadow their amazing performance. They came out 3 amazing goals. They played beautifully. They were glued together, and it was a great match to watch. Yes, unfortunate that we had the drama on the back end to kind of spoil what would have been an amazing final.
We had Pedro de la Vega, this Argentinian promise, playing at a very high level. Roldan was the MVP of the game with such a performance, a goal, an assist, and Seattle proving that they are probably true the biggest team in MLS. They completed every possible trophy that they can win. They have won.
The question here, Marcelino, is Messi gonna save Suarez? Is MLS gonna keep, favoring Miami and Messi? Because at the end of the day, I think what Suarez did was way beyond what Herrera did, At the end of the day, like I said, they are professional players that represent the league. And to see something like that, I think we don't need that in this league. It's a league that is growing. It's a league that is getting better every year. And if you're going to bring those type of players, it's only a bad example for our kids.
Suarez, player who, we can probably count on one hand how many years left he probably has to play anyways. But not to make everything about my squad, LA Galaxy, which it's not doing so hot right now, but I have to say something about this tournament, and there is a silver lining for my squad, the Galaxy. We did well, I think better than most people maybe thought we would have going into this tournament, and even showed up, in the third place spot against Orlando. We showed up defensively. We played much better than we have in the domestic league, at least, and it showed. More shots on goals by Orlando. Possession, pretty close, but almost every time we got more goals, more shots on us, we got more goals on us. Wasn't the case this time, so I was very proud of my squad, and that qualifies us for next year's tournament, showing that LA Galaxy might sort of cement itself as a staple of this tournament. And for this season, which has kind of been a wash for the Galaxy, that's one achievement that we can at least, hang up. So let me have it.
It doesn't save the season, but it's a good result for the Galaxy.
Nothing's going to save.
Because they're qualifying for the CONCACAF Champions to fight for a spot in the Club World Cup. It means a lot.
It does. But there's another tournament that we like very much here in LatiNation Football Club, maybe second only to La Gloriosa Liga MX de las Chivas, I'm talking about the one and only Champions Leagues, my friend, because, Nick, we are about to begin the most competitive tournament of club soccer in the world.
That's right. At the end of this month, it all kicks off. Match day one. This might sound a little confusing. Match day one is spread out across 3 separate days because there's a lot of teams playing. So we're going to break it down, the biggest games by each match day. First up, Giva, I want to talk to you because we're talking about Real Madrid versus Marseille. Marseille, a squad that, you know, for their domestic league, up there with PSG, they have actually won Champions League to their names, but they pale in comparison to Real Madrid, which has more Champions League than any other squad ever of all time. So what does this tournament mean for Real Madrid right now? They've struggled as of late. So give us like a big picture breakdown of what Real Madrid need to do, what you're looking out for.
Real Madrid, el más grande, el más ganador de la Champions League, they have to come on strong now. Let's not forget that they have a brand new coach, Xabi Alonso. They're struggling to establish the type of game that they want to play with Xavi. But I do see Real Madrid learning from their past experience in the Champions League and winning these type of games that are essential. The first matches are essential for you to take the 3 points, especially when you're playing at home.
Yeah, that's a good point. Other matches to look out for on that day, Juve versus Dortmund. Love to see Italian tactics go up against German strength. Always fun to watch. Another Bilbao versus Arsenal. Arsenal betting big on a 15-year-old Mr. Max Daumann, the youngest player to ever play in the tournament. That's going to be fascinating to watch as well. Marseille, day 2, just as exciting, if not more. No offense. Bayern versus Chelsea. This is going to be an interesting match. Bayern's got that depth. I see them as this dark horse in the tournament. They got goal-scoring abilities with Kane. They got leadership with Kane, but it goes deeper than just Kane. Chelsea, on the other hand, great players as well. They got something else. They've been spending a lot of cash.
A lot of cash. Around $1 billion in the last 3 years for Chelsea. They have been putting this crazy team. We saw sparkles of what they are trying to achieve in the Club World Cup. They won the tournament, and we saw that the power that they have up front is unlike very few teams in the competition. For me, Joao Pedro is the player to watch. They will be relying on him, but also Palmer, right? Palmer had a great tournament, and he might be finally fulfilling the promise that he's been trying to, you know, be as a player since his Manchester City days. Nick, I believe that this is very important for Chelsea to start strong. This is a team that is coming back to the tournament after not being in it last season. So I believe that they have big expectations, but I do believe that they have an edge because they have a deep, deep team. And I think that that's going to make a difference coming in later in the season.
Deep team, deep pockets. Some other matches to watch on that day as well. Olympiacos versus Paphos, the Greek giants going up against the tiny island of Cyprus at a tiny city on the tiny island of Cyprus, Paphos. They surprised everybody by getting into this tournament, so much so, caught my eye. I might just be in Europe to cover a little bit of what's going on in the tiny city of Paphos on the tiny island of Cyprus. But I don't want to give too many spoiler alerts away, but spoiler alert, hint, hint,
will be
I might be over there, yeah.
We will be traveling a little bit. A lot of surprises coming from LatiNation Football Club and the coverage for Champions League.
That's right. And finally, I got a lot of matches on here, so I'm looking at my notes. On day 3 of match day 1, we got another big one. Man City versus Napoli. For me, probably the most exciting match of all of these. We got Man City, who've been dominating this tournament other than, you know, the last few, you know, recent past. But Napoli, amazing in Serie A, the champions of Serie A, going up. De Bruyne, doing amazing for Napoli, going up against his former club. What are you guys looking for in this match? What are you most excited for?
I mean, hopefully Pep Guardiola finally finds a way with Manchester City. It seems to me like they're still struggling. I feel like Manchester City is not going to go too far in this Champions League because they're redoing the whole team. And, you know, I just hope that Manchester City shows why they spend so much money and the coaches and the players.
There you have it, my friends, the report of Champions League. And with that, we close the segment, guys. What a first segment. A lot of soccer from this side of the pond to the other side of the pond. But don't go anywhere. When we come back right here in LatiNation Football Club, everything about the World Cup qualifiers all across the world. Teams are fighting for the spot to be here in the United States, Mexico, and Canada in 2026. We'll be right back here in LatiNation Football Club.
I was looking at it through my phone at first. I'm like, why is there such a delay? And why are we getting pitch hitters right away? Oh, the pitcher got thrown out for some reason. Maybe he hurt himself. But no, turning out and seeing a brawl was absolutely hilarious to let that one play out. Just the way it is sometimes in baseball. We don't get a lot of good fights and a lot of good brawls and anger, specifically from two teams that aren't going to the playoffs. So good on them for showing that moxie last time. But it's good to see a little bit of a brawl and a little bit of that passion here.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
You're looking for JJ. You and I already discussed here. Addison's gone for a couple of games here. They thoroughly have a number 3, Thielen fine. You do have a nice tight end here. The running game could be solid here. Like I said, I don't think he'll have the least productive season of his career. If the question was how it should have been with the injuries, I might have said yes, because then it would be 88, 1,407. So then I might have said yes.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
No better place to be than SportsGrid. College football today, right here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe, Lisi, Donnie, right side for the entire season, Joe, on Saturday. This is your place. This is your place to be, Joe.
I love it. I tell you, and it's flying. Show's flying. We're on an hour already. I can't wait. We're licking our chops for these Rat Pack games. And it's a great slate.
Look at you on the screen right now.
Look like a little rat.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
The reason why I feel like Jared Goff doesn't really enter these MVP conversations. Jared Goff last year was on the team with the best record in football, threw for 4,700 yards, 37 touchdowns, and Tom was never in the race. He was never in the race because we know he's not that guy.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
And we are back here in LatiNation Football Club. I'm your host, Marcelino Ortiz, and I'm here with Chiva Mayor, Nik Z. We just talked about this beautiful tournament, Champions League, but now it is time to talk about national teams. I'm repping Nicaragua. They're playing against Costa Rica on a very important game on their aspirations to qualify for the first time. But before I get ahead of myself, my friends, let's talk about CONMEBOL, because one of the biggest games in the history of the South American qualifiers is happening. The last game Messi might play for Argentina in the Monumental in River happened, and it was very meaningful that Alex Crespo from LatiNation Football Club was there. Let's check out what he had to say.
What is up, LatiNation fam? We are here post-game of the Argentina dub against Venezuela, 3-0 victory, 2 goals from the GOAT, Lionel Messi, and 1 from El Toro, Lautaro Martinez. I mean, initial thoughts, this game was spectacular in El Monumental with all the fans screaming GOAT, Messi, and then just overall you would see all the emotions going through everyone's faces in this stadium. This was a magical moment in history that I got to live, and I will forever be grateful for. And I mean, overall, we have to give a quick update on the CONMEBOL games. I mean, every game you could imagine almost ended in 3-0 victories, other than Paraguay versus Ecuador, which ended up in a 0-0 draw. This marks history for Paraguay. This is the first time that they are qualifying in many, many years. And this is a historic moment for them, and we'll see just how far they can make it in this tournament.
Now, let's talk about these qualifiers, because we have Venezuela, we have Colombia, and we have Bolivia fighting tooth and nail to qualify, Chiva. What are your predictions?
Paraguay finally coming back to a World Cup after, South Africa 2010. I think they got it. They're in this World Cup. It's going to be amazing. I think it's exciting. I do want Colombia to advance. I want to see that cumbia and El Mundial here in the United States and Mexico and Canada.
But for that to happen, Venezuela needs to falter. Venezuela is a team that has been growing incredibly fast, and I really like their football. They have players like Sotelo that are really making a difference for the team. Nick, do you think that they will qualify for the World Cup?
Yes, I do. You don't want to be like me in 2017 at that open bar at the wedding and underestimate the power of the Vino Tinto. Don't do it, because it'll get you in trouble. That being said, the fan base, they deserve it. This is a loyal fan base. They've been through a lot as a country. Of course, there's some political stuff on the side that could complicate fans attending matches here, but that's out of our control for now. We have to see what happens with that. But as a nation that rallies around this sport, because the other things they have to rally around are very divisive and problematic and troublesome for them, it matters a lot. And I want to see the Vino Tinto get through. I want to see them do well.
And the reality is the most important game that they will be playing will happen against Colombia. The last match day of the CONMEBOL qualifiers pits Venezuela versus Colombia, what is going to be a decisive game for both to see if they qualify directly or they go to the play-in, Chiva. The play-in that it's a very, very unique type of game because they will pit the 7th place of CONMEBOL versus the Ocean Pacific region. It's hard to tell at this point who will be, but it's an exciting game. One of the beautiful things that this extended format of the World Cup brings is the fact that there's so much more teams that are going to get to play this tournament. Now, that's why we're going to talk about the CONCACAF qualifiers, because they are in a very particularly unique situation. We have been talking about this before, but here we go again. Mexico, the United States, and Canada are not participating. That's why we have countries like Suriname and Nicaragua that are fighting for a dream to qualify for the World Cup. Chiva, who are your Cinderellas for this qualifier?
I mean, let's not forget about Guatemala. Guatemala that has been suspended for many years. FIFA suspended them, and they haven't had a chance to be near a World Cup. I think this is today is the day for the Central American teams. Today more than ever, they have a unique opportunity of qualifying to the World Cup. And I do see Guatemala with Tena, the Mexican coach, taking them to that promised land. It's going to be tough because they have to play El Salvador, Suriname, and Panama. But I do see Guatemala as a dark horse making it to the World Cup.
And for them, I mean, this is the closest that they're going to feel to having a home advantage in a World Cup. If they do make it, a lot of Guatemalan fans obviously going to make it to those matches in Mexico or here in the U.S. So, I mean, this is about as close as it's going to get for them in the recent future, in the near future, right? For having that home field in a World Cup.
Some of the countries that will be fighting for the top spots in these qualifiers are the usual suspects. Chiva, talk to me about which are the teams that surprise you the most, that are the closest to giving the surprise that they really shouldn't be participating at all if they were a normal qualifier?
I mean, Suriname, they have amazing players that play for European teams. They're so underestimated that people are talking about El Salvador and Guatemala fighting for a second spot and putting Panama in first place. But I think Suriname has a great team and a great coach. And they're going to be top contenders to advance directly to the World Cup.
USA probably is going to hope anyone but Panama gets through.
Talking about the U.S. and Mexico, they will be also having activities this weekend. We have great games for both. Nik, let's go first with you.
Sure.
Pochettino came up with a roster. Not everybody was happy.
Sure.
An alternative roster, if you will. Is it benefit for the U.S. to play these games with a squad that it might not be the final one?
Sure. I guess a lot of people weren't particularly happy with his choice because some notable players are left off. But those notable players aren't necessarily left off in the long term in the World Cup. For now, he's letting them fulfill their duties for their clubs. And those players happen to be in Europe, playing for Juve, playing for these big clubs. So he's giving these other players, these younger guys, a chance and putting them on this roster. And yes, it surprised a lot of people, but we got Pulisic back. So how are we going to integrate him into the squad? That's going to be, I hate to say it, the most important thing for us because he is our star and we're going to need him and we're going to figure out, where he fits into all this. That's the most important thing. Everyone else will figure out a way.
Build around Pulisic and maybe you'll make it to the semifinals. Chiva, who can we build around in Mexico? El Chamaco Mora? Maybe?
Chamaco Mora, I think he's going to be in the World Cup, but I'm so happy to see Chucky Lozano,
yes,
El Muñeco Diabólico, killing it in the MLS, finally after years back with El Tri. And let me tell you something. I think even though people think that just because they're friendly, they're not important games for teams like Mexico, USA, or Canada, but let's not forget that the players on the squad, they're fighting for a spot in the World Cup. So they're going to give everything they have to make it to the World Cup. And I do see a strong team from Mexico, US, and Canada. But so happy to see Chucky Lozano and Diego Lainez finally back in the squad.
And it's time to go on a break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the women's game, National Women's Soccer League, and the champions de mujeres. Don't go anywhere. LatiNation Football Club.
Want to play roulette? Here's a tip. European roulette has a lower house edge than American style. The lower the house edge, the better shot you have at winning. Most online casinos offer European roulette. So, if I were you, I'd get spinning. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Like it or not, 18-year-olds dropped with a whole lot of heck of a lot of money in there. Boy, I tell you, it changes people, Donnie, and it's a new reality that we better get used to in college football, because look at the kid from UCLA, former Tennessee quarterback, making millions of dollars. You really think he cares? They got absolutely embarrassed and trounced. The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
When is Caitlin Clark coming back? Is it in this regular season? Is it going to be to start the postseason? Is it not at all? It's one of the most fascinating things of this WNBA season that we aren't talking about with regularity because it's just been so long. I know it may not feel it, but Caitlin Clark's last game was the 15th of July.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
The Dallas Cowboys losing that pass rush, losing another big impact player on the defensive side, all this does is make me like Dak Prescott more and CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens more, because what we talked about all offseason, right, Matt, which is, hey, when Dak is healthy, he is a top 5 fantasy quarterback, and the defense we think is okay, but we think they're going to be in a lot of shootouts. Now I definitely think there's going to be a lot more shootouts.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
And we are back here in LatiNation Football Club, and I'm with my good friends and collaborators, Nik Z and Camila Ortiz, expert on all things women football, el fútbol femenil, and we have a lot to talk about because NWSL is heating up in the playoff race, is heating up in the transfer numbers. We're hitting record numbers with the outgoing players, and we have to talk about the Champions League that is about to begin on the women's side too, Nik. But Camila, you're the expert. Where should we begin, with the money or the game?
There's just so much to cover this episode, but I think we should start with the game. Let's pinpoint ACFC. We're going to touch on them a little bit later in the episode, but I think it's very important to talk about their game this weekend. They were able to grab another 3 points, putting them in 9th in the standings right now, and they just need to reach that 8th, marking to get in the playoffs. So this is really exciting time for them.
Finally, they seem to be heating up right at the moment where they needed it. For me, they were kind of a lost cause at this point, Camila. The results were not with them. And, on the other side, we had San Diego Wave that is keep going up, winning games, getting in the top places. And at the same time, Orlando, con Marta, mi mero gallo, is going downhill. Talk to me about that a little.
Yes, they actually took another loss this weekend. That's a second loss in a row. I mean, Gotham has a lot of really talented players. You have Esther Gonzalez, who just came from the Euros. You have Rose Lavelle, who is a prominent U.S. women's national team player. And, also Orlando Pride has been suffering some serious injuries. We saw one of their star forwards, Barbara Banda. She suffered a season-ending injury, unfortunately.
A terrible news for Orlando because Banda was a record-setting player that was about to explode in this league. Nik, I know that you follow the connection between European and American soccer very closely, and we've seen some crazy news this week. Camila, can you please brief my good friend Nik about what's going down between ACFC and no other than Chelsea that keeps dashing money where the men or the women, money, 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 money.
Yep, they are on a roll. Okay, Nik, listen to this. Chelsea was in the works with ACFC to take the one and only Alyssa Thompson. I mean, she is one of, if not the most prominent young player, in the women's side of football. And this is, if you're an ACFC fan like myself, this shook you. This broke my heart. Literally, this is one of my favorite young players. And yeah, I mean, today they actually just announced that they have reached a verbal commitment with Alyssa Thompson to go to Chelsea.
That tells us a lot. It tells us, okay, Chelsea as a team specifically has a lot of money to make it rain. Yes, on the men's side, on the women's side, all over the place. But we got some hints there in terms of finances, and it's looking good on that side as well. I mean, you have this new partnership, with Disney Plus broadcasting this. That means more reach, more money for broadcasting, and just more visibility all out. That's something we always want to see. You have the Europa League that's going to be happening side by side with the women's UEFA. So no matter how you look at it, it's good news in the bigger picture. You see your beloved players leave your team. That's always going to hurt. But we see a shift. We're seeing a big shift in the right direction. And this year's tournament, I think, and I'm talking about UEFA, is going to be absolutely amazing. Eyes are all on the big squads. And I want to get your guys' opinion on this. I'm looking at Arsenal. Arsenal's looking absolutely amazing. I'm very excited to see how they fare. Barcelona, they're hungry, having lost last time to Arsenal. I think they have something to prove. Lyon, I think the all-time champions. I don't think anyone has more titles than them. I think they're up there as well. PSG, Juve, maybe this the same teams as on the men's side dominating here on the women's, but it's going to be absolutely an amazing tournament to watch.
And one of the realities that we will be continue to see is these transfers that happen from these giant behemoths in the European world, that they have an amazing salary cap, where we were just talking. That is not a reality for the National Women's Soccer League. Touch on that, Camila, please.
Yes. Okay. So if we look at the WSL, which is on the European side of women's soccer, their salary caps are same, 40%. But you have to remember, for a huge club like Chelsea, that includes the whole franchise as a whole. So that includes the men's side as well, meaning that they are able to just offer these big-time players like Alyssa Thompson so much more money than the NWSL, which, begs the question, like, will the NWSL be able to keep up with these mega clubs? I mean, give it 2-5 years. I don't know. I don't know what their path is going to look like, honestly, if they can't make a change.
The Thompson sisters being separated from each other after being one of the success stories of Southern California, playing for their hometown team, and now off she goes, Alyssa Thompson, to Chelsea. My friends, we have so much soccer, though. It's sad to see her go, but it's going to be great. We're going to see her in the Champions League. Now, please tell me, Camila, what is the highlight game that you're going to be watching this weekend?
Oh, so many amazing games in the NWSL, but the game that I am really going to keep my eyes on this weekend is the Nicaragua game. I am excited and praying that they can take it home this weekend.
I'll be tuning in to the Japan versus Mexico game. And Nick, what are you watching this weekend?
I'm watching U.S. men versus South Korea. I think that's going to be a great match. I got to see what's Poach going to do.
My friends, with that, we come to the end of the show. I am your host, Marcelino Ortiz, and I want to thank you, the MVP of LatiNation Football Club, for choosing to spend this time week after week. We appreciate it, and we hope to see you next time.
Guess what, golfers? Vegas isn't just casinos and pool parties. In fact, there are 50 golf courses within a 15-mile radius of the Strip, all boasting beautiful desert oasis landscapes. So, if you're looking for a break from the action, consider hitting the links. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Donnie, the season is 6 months. 5 if you check out in September. You're gonna have a bad month. The Yankees had a horrible month, that is true. But beyond that, their regular season looks okay. They're gonna win their 90 games or maybe a little bit more and get to the postseason. What is everybody freaking out about?
Everybody freaks out. It's a Yankee tax and Yankee fan tax as well, where every single season you enter into the equation going like, it's championship or bust.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Remember these names: AZ Fudd, Olivia Miles, Lauren Betts. Depending on who wins that lottery, that's going to depend on who goes one. If Washington wins, it's Fudd. She's from the area. If Dallas wins, they're going to bring Fudd to play with, obviously, Paige. If Minnesota wins, I think they go Miles with the point. If Seattle wins, they go with Miles, and the same thing with Chicago.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I don't like it. Does he think he's playing on the opening kickoff? Does he want to get a handoff at that point?
I mean, he's involved in the program. Here's the problem with James
Why do
Frank.
coaches even run out with the football team? Like, Andy Reid doesn't run out with the Chiefs.
Yeah, but it's the NFL. This is college
what about
kids.
high school, college basketball? Do those
They're
guys
like a
run out with
father
them?
figure. Well, they used to be like a father figuring. Now the kids are making more than the coach.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.